talk about this week.
Yeah, favorite workout.
Favorite workout.
Can
of
it
the
be
week?
one that I didn't get to do?
No.
I didn't get to do any of them.
Let's
Let's just all be honest.
Besides
it's
Wednesdays.
the bench press.
That's your favorite then.
Yeah.
I
It's the
enjoyed
bench
it.
press.
My favorite workout was the bench press.
All right, Kirby.
2 rep max.
Yeah, I did bench press, the squats, and then Wednesday's workout yesterday. That's all I've done this week.
Me too.
I enjoyed yesterday's Wednesday's workout because it was hot outside, so
The
we went
CrossFit
to everything.
workout.
Yes, the CrossFit workout. We went outside, the mile run.
So we've all slacked off except for Kelsey because I've
Kelsey's been
missed
killing it.
2 workouts this week too.
Well, you know, just leaving us. So,
That's not true.
what was your favorite workout
Of the 3?
that you did?
Sorry, Shane just hit puberty.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Voice is going out.
I just changed my voice. I can do that on cue.
Oh, okay.
If you want me, no, I was gonna try to do it. I can't change it.
His eyes. I love it.
Can't change it. Favorite workout?
I like the squats mainly because I'm getting to focus on them more. You know, I
You're
used
feeling
to.
better?
Yeah. So
So the 2 rep max squat was your favorite workout?
that was the favorite thing I've done. But I like the deadlift wall ball one I did yesterday.
Oh, goodness.
That was
yeah,
fun.
That one looked really fun.
Yeah, that did look fun.
I probably should have went heavier. Sorry, but I didn't.
It didn't.
No,
Kelsey,
you did good.
what was your favorite workout? Kelsey's been
Today's.
doing all of them. Oh, yeah, today's Ignite.
Ignite
yeah.
was good.
Oof.
I like the
Yeah, I want to do
hang
that
dumbbell
one.
snatches.
I'm hoping to do that one after this, so we'll see.
Yeah, it was good.
It was
I
a
like
fun one.
shuttle runs.
Yeah, they are fun.
Yeah,
We're
we'll
killing
start.
it. Kelsey
we'll
was
start
sprinting
throwing the shuttle runs in there a
Trying.
little more. It's just hard to organize sometimes.
with a big class.
Yeah.
it
We had
is.
13 in the 5 a.m. and it was okay, but any more than that,
Well,
it's
and
gonna
CrossFit's
get.
using barbells, so
Yeah.
that is hard.
I'm not critiquing y'all shuttle runs, but y'all didn't touch the ground, so it don't
I
count.
told them they didn't have to.
I did ask.
We're not doing the CrossFit Open.
Doesn't
so
count. No
Oh.
rep. No rep.
Did you see me at the beginning of the workout and you were like 3, 2, and everybody took off and I was like, bro.
Oh, I know, and I had to say it again.
All y'all taking off early.
I started saying 3, 2, 1, go, because they'll do 3, 2, 1, and I'm like, no, go back.
I was like, bro.
Yeah,
It's funny. But yeah, that was my favorite.
yeah, it looks like a fun one. Definitely does. Did you tell us yours, or you said?
I said bench press. Wednesday's workout was the only one that I did, so that was a good one though.
Yeah.
Was that the?
The mile run.
The one that
Man, I really
people
wanted
were
to do
happy
that.
you were not
Yeah.
there for. 'Cause
Do
you
it
would have
today.
destroyed people.
I may do it today
Yeah, it was fun.
at 2:00.
2:00.
2:00 on the dot.
Mm-hmm. Shane, how's firefighting going?
It's good.
Mm-hmm.
It's good. Doing all the things.
Yeah,
Learning a lot.
that's cool.
So much. A lot of medical. I gotta learn a lot of medical stuff. So we're required to get our EMT and
I
advanced
was about
EMT.
to ask that. That's super
Got to
cool.
get both within the year, but they pay for it
Mhm.
and do it. They put you through school. So I'm excited to do that because, then I'm.
Add more tools to the tool belt.
That's right.
That's right. So I'll know. I'll be in here ready to go in case someone goes down in a workout.
Let's hope that doesn't happen.
CPR.
Check the scene. Are you okay? Are you okay?
You call 911.
That's right.
Oh my god, that throws me back to my locker
Yeah.
certifications.
No,
Dang.
Absolutely.
Backboard
Do I
review.
have permission to give you first aid and CPR? If they're unresponsive, you just go ahead. Just go out.
Don't ask me. Just do
But
it.
if they're conscious, you
Just-
gotta ask.
Yes, you do.
Shane knows his stuff.
It does. That's pretty cool.
right.
That's exciting. All right, so what are we talking about today?
CrossFit.
Talking about CrossFit.
What's
Oh
that?
wow, that's a surprising topic.
We are going to talk about just kind of why we are doing CrossFit. Kind of get into that, what kind of drew us here and all of that stuff. So I guess the first thing we can talk through, all of us, like what brought us to CrossFit? What was the intriguing thing about CrossFit? I know we've talked about like our beginning parts, I think the first podcast,
Yeah.
but really like what drew us specifically to the CrossFit style working out.
Like to stay in it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, anybody want to go first? Shayna?
Hey, I'll go first. I don't mind.
Do
Lay it
your
out there,
thing.
I don't mind. Voice crack here and there, but I don't mind. So I touched on this a little bit when I did the introduction, but CrossFit, and I was drawn to it because I saw them dumb pull-ups online, and I was like, what are the reason they do those pull-ups for, which would be the butterfly pull-ups. So I definitely gave CrossFit a bad rap before I even tried it. But I came in because I wanted to change up my workout routine because I started to hit a plateau a little bit. So I wanted to work out a little more diversely. So I came into CrossFit, and I did that one class, and I loved it, and I just kept coming back to 6 a.m. And it was like I was constantly sore. I just remember always seeing constant improvement. You know, sometimes you'll see lots of improvement over a month, couple months, but then sometimes you'll go 2, 3, 4 months, even longer than that, without seeing no progress. Like, I remember hitting a plateau in my power clean, and I was kind of discouraged about it. I was telling John, I'm like, I've been at the same weight for 9 months now, and I'm not getting any better, no better. And then one day I like PR'd it by like 30 pounds. And it's like, where'd that come from? You know, but CrossFit, I'm drawn into it, one, by the community, everyone here. And now I got the opportunity to coach all these wonderful athletes that come through here. And then also being around you guys who make me want to be better in the aspect of my fitness and knowing how to better other athletes, not just on my fitness level, but on my coaching level. So just being around a group of people who really care about what they do encourages me to want to be better at what I do and also be fitter than John.
That was so touching until that point.
Until then, it just threw everything else out.
Yeah, I just want to be fitter than John is the only reason I'm sticking around.
Oh, so that's why Shane does CrossFit. To be fitter than John.
Try again next year.
I could beat him in more workouts, but he'll still beat me overall. I'm like, this is just crazy.
It's because the one workout that he does beat you on, I guess it's a
It
significant.
just beats the crap out of me. He's like, you thought you were gonna win. You thought, but
Just wait.
It's funny.
but yeah, the community and just being around everybody is great. Like I said, I couldn't imagine being anywhere else. And like I said, my whole plan was to leave Jacksonville, and this gym changed that entirely.
Pulls you in.
Happens a lot.
It does.
But you wouldn't come here until we left the shopping center.
I would not. When I saw you on a strip mall, I'm like, that's got to be a joke. That's got to be a joke.
God.
To be honest, I didn't know that this was that gym, or I still might not have come. I didn't know that y'all were the gym that was in the strip mall.
Does it make you feel bad that the only reason we were there is because we got hit by a tornado?
Nope.
Yeah.
Not at all.
Oh my.
To be fair, that was definitely not our first choice.
No,
of
it was
places.
not.
It got us by. It did.
It did. And I mean, it got us some FaceTime with the community.
Yeah, I mean,
like,
it was,
people would
pretty
walk
good
in there
location.
like, how long is the CrossFit gym here? And we're like, since 2014.
Yeah.
Oh.
Now, being in the position I'm at now I admire it. You know,
Oh,
I'm
yeah,
like,
yeah,
okay,
yeah.
wow, they stuck it out. They got that insurance money.
Oh,
but,
Lord.
Yeah.
No, I'm so glad I came through those doors. And
I remember you coming with that little dog.
yep, Rose.
Yep.
Yep, and
Do you think if this place just like something happened and it wasn't here anymore, you would still do CrossFit?
absolutely,
Okay.
absolutely.
That's awesome.
Like I said, I love seeing, you know, all the improving in all these areas. Me and John were having a conversation today. I said, John, since starting CrossFit, there are things that, you know, we talked about when I first started, hey, you might see decreases in certain areas of performance. He was like, becoming more mobile can sometimes make you less explosive, less athletic, not dramatically, but you might see some decline in some areas. And I was telling John, I was like, honestly, if I'm looking at the broad spectrum of everything, I don't think I have decline in any area. I might not can run an 800-meter run maybe quite as fast as I used to be able to.
Maybe
Like
two
how
sec-
fast?
2 seconds off. Maybe.
So I used to run it in 2:03.
maybe
Now I'll
2:05.
probably run it in 2:12.
Let's test it.
2:20. 2:12 is being too confident. I'd say 2:20.
It's still so good.
Yeah.
No way, dude.
And I can still.
Like I
hang
used to be able
around.
to run a 400 and like 150.
150. You wouldn't have made the track team.
I feel like it was 150. I might.
There's
be
no
wrong.
way.
I feel like it was
Uh-uh.
150.
No way.
So maybe it was when we were doing
No way.
the we had to do a 2 mile. You know, like for the soccer team, we had to run a 2
Yeah.
mile, but it had to be on the track. So maybe they said that we had to have a 150 pace per.
That's
Maybe that's what I'm thinking of.
Yeah.
Because 150 does sound very slow for a 400 meter.
It is. Like our slowest girl ran like a 130,
Yeah, that does sound really slow.
and that's.
Let's go test it.
I want
So
to.
we can go to the track.
Okay.
My hammies
I'm
feeling
gonna be
okay,
the
I think.
Last place, but
That'd be fun.
Yeah. But so I love just being able to constantly improve. And like I said, you hit plateaus. It happens, and it's a mental battle when that happens. But you just got to remember, hey, just stick to what you know and keep working through the process and the program, and it will work. And not only the program, also kind of pay attention to yourself and what you're doing outside of the gym, because that will affect your performance inside the gym, and a lot of people forget about that.
Yeah.
So
For sure.
mentally, nutritionally, and programming, as far as in the gym and doing what you want to do. If you start to see that plateau, kind of dial in on all three of those things.
Yeah. I think that was a good conversation this morning. I think 95% of people are going to get better in every area of what you'd consider fitness. But there are some that are like either elite or advanced athletes in one area that, like, if you just do CrossFit, it's not specialized. So you'll see a slight decrease in that specific area while everything else is going to increase.
Yeah.
So like you would sacrifice, I would think, that 10-second 800-meter time for 150 pounds added to your back squat.
Yeah.
Like that's the give and take there that you'll see. So,
And reaching full depth in a back squat.
and reaching full depth.
Yeah.
I mean,
and being able to squat.
When I first walked in here, my squat was awful. I mean,
I wish I could remember.
I know
John was
does.
coaching all the
It was
morning
very
classes
bad.
at
Yeah,
that point.
I mean, I would never think I could squat. I got complimented on my squat form. I'm like, dude, you obviously can't squat because my squat form's good, but it ain't this great.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Well, that's all good. Kels,
Stuff.
what drew you to CrossFit and kept you going?
I'm gonna say the community. Just like I made friends at Stoked and then in here obviously, but like I like any style of
You made
fitness.
family.
Family, yeah,
You
that's
made-
right. You're
Oh,
right.
shake it
You're
down.
right. You could put me I could do spin. I'm just happy
Yeah,
doing
but-
whatever,
yeah.
but the people is what draws me, back in and being pushed during workouts and working alongside people and stuff like that. Just it's kind of like team building, I guess you could say. And there's a lot to be said about discipline. You have to come in here and at a certain time, and a coach tells you what to do, and you are to go through the class. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
And there's just something to be said about not doing your own thing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just following whatever that coach is saying,
Yeah.
and that's from my athlete perspective, not my coach perspective.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just being around the people and working out with people.
Yeah.
Because I hadn't done that. I'd never worked out with anybody.
Yeah, because you did all the solo bodybuilding
Yeah,
stuff.
and then I
You
didn't
had
play
friends,
sports.
right?
No.
But you had people that you saw. You had people that you saw at the gym. You're like, oh hey.
Not really.
Oh. I guess it is different.
Headphones
Yeah,
in.
I put the
I guess
headphones.
we
Social
forgot
status
about
turned
that.
off.
There are headphones involved.
Yeah.
Doing stuff like that.
One guy asked me who I killed, and I was like, "What do you mean?" And he was like, "You look like you just
Give off that vibe.
killed somebody." That's okay. I like that.
I was like, don't talk to me.
If
I
I saw
like
you in a
that.
commercial gym, I ain't walking up to you. I'm like, wow,
Good.
that girl is a.
Good.
I don't know what that noise was.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, there is a thing to say about working out together, do the same workout,
Mhm.
and suffering. I say that,
Yeah,
you're it's not a team workout, but like you said, you're doing the exact same thing, and you kind of suffer through it together. You get through it together, and you completed it together,
Yeah.
even though you've done it by yourself.
Together. We're gonna run.
No.
Oh my gosh.
Please no.
Yeah, CrossFit is fun. I guess that's kind of what drew me in. I didn't know what to do, after sports. I did not know what to. I tried doing some stuff and it was just boring. I was bored. I'd always been with people, so I like that. Was told to come to CrossFit and just really enjoyed not having to think, not having to make my own stuff, not having to. Because I am, y'all know I like to do things the right way, and if I was after season going in there, nobody was watching me.
Yeah.
Nobody was telling me if I was
Coach.
doing it right. Yeah, nobody was telling me hey, this is what you should be going towards. I didn't really know what I wanted. So yeah, CrossFit, I guess, nobody was watching me when I was not doing CrossFit, didn't really know what I was doing, so decided to come to CrossFit and very much enjoyed not having to think through things. I also really appreciate CrossFit is the first thing I have done, besides like soccer in a different sense, but like that has taught me like how my body should be moving, has taught me like overall health, has taught me nutrition. I mean, I told y'all we did not have that growing up. We did not have a nutritionist ever. We don't hear, but like people care. People care about their fitness here.
Yeah.
People care about like their movement. People care about why are you working for a 2-rep, not a max, but on your bench press. Why are you doing that? You know, and like we talk through that here, and I appreciate the knowledge that CrossFit has given me, and like the people in my life that have given me that knowledge too and helped me grow in that, because that was, I mean, I just played soccer. Like I just played a sport, and like that was where my lane was, and CrossFit has opened up so many more avenues. So that's been really cool. Obviously you don't get that right away, but like staying in CrossFit for me has opened up a lot of different doors, and it's just been enjoyable. And I love working out with people and just like going through stuff together. I love the push from other people. I love the competitive side of it. Not that every day is a competitive day, but I love like, oh my goodness, like this is something I need to work towards. Like there's so many strong women
Like
in
you
the gym.
stringing together handstand push-ups in the open.
That's right. That was good.
Yeah,
that was
crazy.
What a hype
exciting.
moment.
I was so excited about that.
Turn me up.
Oh god. But like there's so many strong women in the gym, and I love that because that's like I'm chasing that. Like I want that. I love the chase, I guess.
Yeah.
The competitive drive of that.
There's always something new to
work
try to get
towards.
toward,
and
yeah.
it's just so fun. Like there's just so many components of CrossFit that are fun to me.
Yeah.
And there's things that are always changing.
And I feel like the competitiveness here is probably the most healthy competitiveness you can get. Like, me and John, obviously, we want to be better at one workout than the other, but it's not an unhealthy where it's like, my day's ruined if I don't beat John in this
Right,
workout.
or like your buttholes to each other. Like nobody's a butthole. Like it's
like
really.
we kid, we joke.
I mean,
Shades
you
of-
too.
shades of both.
They're
You
actually
too. I
buttholes.
don't know.
But like,
But it is
I'm not
fun.
upset. I'm like, if John beat me, I'm like, okay, well, obviously, all right, I got to get better at that. I see workouts, and I'm like, okay, John's got a chance here to whoop me.
And it's like, where can I?
90% of them are like, I got him, no
But
problem.
like, where can I pick it up at?
Yeah.
Where can I do this?
Yeah.
And like, it is really fun doing the open or doing competitions like smaller ones, because like people get so excited for each other,
Yeah.
or like you see stuff on Sugar Wad, the fist bumping, the comments. Like, I love that. I think that's so fun.
Yeah.
It's just encouraging. I really enjoy that. And like you said, I do think it's a very very healthy.
Healthy competitive.
It's not. Nobody in here, from my knowledge, is a butthole
Yeah.
about it.
Y'all best not be.
You know, like we talk crap to like the boys, and I
Yeah.
love that. But like,
Yeah.
it's fun. Coming after you, Josh Carly, just
Oh my
always,
gosh, he's always
I just love when
Why you always
Brian
hating?
when Brian loses, he's like, or it's in the morning, you know, he's like, I thought I was flying, and then I saw Adam and Shane's scores, and I'm like, what in the world?
Yeah, Brian's like, I thought I did good. I'm like, baby, you went at 5
I love
a.m.
It is
I love
different.
it.
And
It's
like,
way different.
But
it
then
is-
there's days where
it
Brian's like, it just blew everybody else out too. I'm like,
Uh-huh.
just remember,
Every
Brian,
now and again.
you're still a dog sometimes.
Well, John, I guess what what kind of brought you to?
I think
CrossFit?
for me it was like the competitive itch, like that being scratched because I didn't play sports after high school, and so I needed something to kind of get after it a little bit. Because I worked out before. Do what?
Couldn't just live to be a washed-up athlete.
That's right. No, because I worked out before, like just for looks, right? That was the only goal, and I got bigger, right? My muscles got a lot bigger, and I got stronger. But I was like, what's the point? Like CrossFit was kind of like gave an avenue to compete with myself. So started getting into Olympic lifting because of CrossFit. Like, how heavy can I go on cleans, or these snatches are very difficult. How do you get better at those? And like the fine little details of nerding out on the actual movement and how you're moving and how your body moves best. All those little things about it, which was kind of me, I guess, taking on that personally. It wasn't like in the classes we nerded out on all that, but because we did it in the classes and I was like bad at it when I first started, I was like, dang, I need to go get better at this. So I would nerd out on it and watch videos and try to learn, ask the coach. hey, how can I be better at these? And then just practice.
Mm-hmm.
And I like that part of it. Something to chase, like you said. And then, of course, to other people, too. JD was the guy when I first started CrossFit that
John was obsessed.
I would look, because we had the little notebook, and you'd come in, and the first thing I would do, because Brett used to write down everybody's scores, and I would just flip through and look, what did JD get? And that was my goal for the day, was to beat him, because I worked out in the afternoons and he was in the mornings. And he beat me most of the time. But yeah, having that chase is fun. It keeps you pushing, and it definitely helps, as long as it's a healthy competitiveness.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was, and then of course the community is kind of what keeps you here. I think if like something happened and there was no longer a CrossFit gym anywhere around, I think a lot of people in here would do different types and styles of working out. Not everybody likes what we do is the most optimal, best thing they could possibly do for a workout every day. But I think it's the best way. The style of workouts is the best way to bring a group of people together and work out together. And it works.
Yeah, most people like that.
Yeah.
Just being together.
Yeah.
I will say everything that we're saying does also apply to Ignite. None of us just started there, so that's why we're specifically talking about CrossFit. But I have seen just my Ignite people so excited about finally getting something like burpees. That's push-ups, like they're just big things that it's the same concept of that excitement and that competitive drive and just chasing.
I love seeing them also, like when they're going from box jumps is like a big mental thing for them. And then they'll go from the 12-inch box to the 16, and like that's huge.
Oh yeah,
or maybe they're like the 16. Okay, now I'm going to try the 20-inch box. It's like that's so awesome to see people push themselves a little bit, and then after they do it for a little while, then it's like they build up that confidence to.
I have loved seeing the confidence in the Ignite group. It has been super cool because I did not start at CrossFit like you did, or I didn't start CrossFit the gym side like you did.
Yeah.
So just getting to see this group transform has been so cool. Yeah. It's so cool.
I haven't been coaching the whole time in Ignite, but just the time that I've been coaching Ignite, and even when I would watch some classes, like there's athletes in there that I'm like, wow, I've seen significant improvements. I mean, I went up to some of them and been like, hey, even since just I started, your lunges are looking better, or you seem so much more balanced. You're so much more under control. You seem very tight in the core, like you're moving so much better, and seeing people just transform how their body moves.
Yeah.
Like I said, your goal doesn't have to necessarily be stronger or be faster or a number on the scale. It can just be about how well you're moving and able to control your body and being more aware.
That's a big deal
of your body and how it moves.
Yeah, this relates all back to what I was saying about you come in the gym and the coach asks you to do, X, Y, and Z. Like, I wouldn't do all this stuff if I wasn't asked to do it. You know what I mean?
Right.
So it's pushed people out of their comfort zone. Yeah. And they're better for it even as a person. So when they go home, they can push themselves out of a comfort zone. That's what I like, is stuff in here builds their character outside the gym. Yes. And I mean that's a deep topic. But,
That's good.
But it does.
It is. Yeah, it's very true.
Yeah.
It's very, very true.
Yeah, it does make you do things that you wouldn't do. I've been asked for why do I do CrossFit, or why do I like it? And sometimes my answer is I like to lift weights, but I know I need to do cardio, so I just lift weights faster sometimes, and then I breathe hard, and there's my cardio and lifting weights at the same time. And that's that's very vague as an answer, but it's kind of true. I dislike, and a lot of people are like this, I really don't like just straight cardio. Yeah. To me, it's boring. I know there's ways you can make it exciting, but I enjoy lifting weights because the accomplishment of actually trying physically hard for a small amount of time. But you kind of slow down or lighten up the load a little bit, and you can do it for reps, and then your heart rate starts to get up, and then it's like, okay, well, what can I do weightlifting wise while my heart rate is high? So you're kind of getting both sides at the same time. Yeah. So makes you do stuff you don't normally want to do.
Yeah, for sure.
Which is good.
It is.
It's a very good thing.
What?
I was going to say, I think there's something to be said, too, about a lot of times when you are working out, it's just I want to look better, I want to be healthier, and those health biomarkers are good. I mean, that's why you work out, essentially. It should be in a lot of cases. You want to look good, and you want to feel good and be healthy in general, but that's really hard to stick with. Because, like, I mean, what are you going to measure the diameter of your biceps to know that they've gotten bigger? Like, you look in the mirror and you can't even tell that they're growing, or you see.
I'll let you know.
Yeah.
I'll let you know when you're
Oh
on.
my
I'll let you know.
And you
when
can.
I'm looking a little small.
You can.
I expect the same from you. Make fun of my bird chest. I'll make fun of them noodle arms.
I'm working.
He was. John had a pump this morning. I was like, oh, dang, boy. You buff, son.
You're so stupid.
What a dog.
This voice.
I know.
So bad.
I know.
I need your regular voice to come. But I mean, you can see stuff like your resting heart rate dropping and that, like that, but that's not that exciting for most people.
I mean, it is for some people.
Yeah, it is.
The average person that doesn't care, no, it's not.
Right. But it's really slow too.
Yeah.
But if you start focusing on things that you can actually do physically in the gym, like the weights going up a little bit, or how you got your first box jumps, or you can run just a little bit faster, those things like that, which we do a lot of in here, then the like health biomarkers are just a byproduct of your fitness program.
Mm-hmm.
And so it changes the focus, and you get hyped up because you're accomplishing something you couldn't have done before, and you're getting healthier and look better at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's a big part of the way the program's run
Yeah.
in here. Big part of CrossFit.
Yeah. Yeah, I like what we got going on in here.
We got it going. No.
We do. So, really, why was the interest really for you, I guess, to take over a CrossFit gym and not, I mean, you were working at Absolute Fitness, why not just stay there and kind of climb the ladder? And you kind of, we know that it just worked out pretty well, but why CrossFit? And then for us, like, why coach at a CrossFit gym? I guess, like, why are we doing CrossFit instead of
Like, I
personal
guess
training
we
somewhere
have the
else?
option. We could have a gym that is any type of exercise.
You want to Planet Fitness?
You
Bye.
could, yeah.
I'm telling you, he's weeding out, guys.
Yeah, I mean, initially, like, this was CrossFit allowed for a really low, like, barrier of entry for a business, right? Like, before CrossFit kind of came on the scene in general, there wasn't many gyms that were, like, inexpensive to open up. Most of the time you saw like a gold gym, and you're talking hundreds of thousands of dollars for all the equipment and everything. And so there wasn't such a thing as, or not many of them, as like a minimalistic, okay, barbell, pull-up bar, dumbbells, and you can pretty much get started.
Yeah.
And so CrossFit kind of came on the scene and started changing that a little bit, and you start to see these micro gyms popping up, and they're not all CrossFit necessarily. They just got more popular with that. So, started out initially because I enjoyed CrossFit just because I did it as working out, and it was a fairly easy way to get into the fitness industry as a business.
Yeah, you had a pretty good reputation with CrossFit.
Yeah.
Always want to take the easy way out, John.
Yeah.
It did
Money
work
was a
out.
big factor there.
Yeah, it did kind of work out nicely.
Yeah. And that's not to say that if I didn't have unlimited resources, I wouldn't have done a CrossFit gym anyway.
Right.
But I really didn't have an option or didn't know any other option at the time. And so I loved it. And, hey, this is an opportunity. So we took it. So that's why I started a CrossFit gym. But we do have I don't know if it's opportunity, every year to decide whether or not we want to stay a CrossFit gym. We could obviously just drop affiliation and, keep running it the exact same way, honestly, just without the CrossFit name in it. And that would be fine. There's a lot of gyms that have done that and been very successful. But I do really like the methodology of CrossFit. And like you said, the community, which you can keep that pretty similar. But as far as a CrossFit brand name and what they've kind of come up with, and they're actually doing a much better job here lately. There's been some rough few years where we really questioned whether or not we would stay with the CrossFit name because it got somewhat of a bad reputation with a lot of people outside of the CrossFit world. And so, but they've done a lot better lately of trying to kind of bring it back and let people know, hey, this is what we're doing and this is why. If you really dive into like the science behind what they came up with, constantly very functional movements at a high intensity, it's really cool. There's a lot of benefits to it. And then you've also got like the CrossFit Games aspect of it, and being a part of that is really cool with the Open every year. So that's another reason why we stick with CrossFit, so people can kind of be a part of that too.
Certifications
Yeah.
are good too.
Yeah, the certifications are great.
Yeah, they have like CrossFit
very professional.
HQ just has so many different avenues that like a CrossFit gym can take. All of the certifications that they offer, all
They try
of
to
the
hit on
different.
everything.
They really do. Like they
wanna
want
fill in all those
nutrition.
gaps.
Yeah, they focus on so many different things.
Yeah.
CrossFit is just. I mean, I know that you kind of hit on it. There were definitely some rough years where we just weren't sure what was going to happen with the actual name of CrossFit. But I have very much appreciated the information. They want people to be healthy. I think that's just a general, like, they want that is CrossFit. Like, in some way, they are wanting people to just live healthier lives.
Yeah.
And they give people opportunity to become coaches, and then to better their coaching by having levels of that and different certifications within their coaches.
They make it very customizable to you.
Yeah.
You know, like they give you all of these options to like your coaching certificates, but after you coach, like they have programming certificates, nutrition, like so they make it to where you can, whatever you feel like you kind of got to have a gap, whatever you feel like your gap is that you're not very knowledgeable about. Well, hey, you can probably take that through CrossFit. Like they probably have a course for that.
Yeah.
And you get your certification there, and then boom, now you made yourself a better coach. It's gonna make your gym a better coach because now you can inform your athletes. So.
There is an argument, I think, for some people like outside the CrossFit community that say, well, it's way too easy. You can just get your CrossFit level 1, spend 1 weekend, pay your money, and then open a gym. And that's true, but if you have to look at the rest of the fitness industry, there's not real. That's common.
Yeah.
Like getting your personal trainer certification is not that difficult. It's not that difficult.
Online.
You do it online, and then you can go train people.
Yeah.
There's not really. I get what you're saying is that somebody still doesn't know what they're doing. When I got my level 1 and started coaching, I had no idea what I was doing. Right. And I already admitted on the last podcast that when I took over this gym, I really probably shouldn't have been able to, right? You know what I mean? Like, people that were here shouldn't have trusted me because I was so new into it, even though I had done it for several years. Like, I wasn't, in my opinion now, looking back, I wasn't good enough yet.
You wouldn't have hired you.
I wouldn't have hired me.
To take on the role that you took on.
Right. Yes, right. And so I kind of agree with what people are saying there. I don't think you should go get your level 1, have less than a year of CrossFit experience, and then just open a gym and think that you can lead people to be the healthiest they can be. However, it's not like CrossFit's the only one that is doing that. I mean, you can go get your personal trainer certification, have very little experience at all, and then go ask people to pay you $100 an hour, and they will pay it.
Yeah, I know someone personally that I'm like, they're
just
a personal
just
trainer
because
and
you
they're
look
training
good,
people.
you think that you can train people, which they can. Some people can. They do very, very well at it, but not everybody can coach.
Right.
You know,
there's really not any place in the fitness industry that like has a high standard outside of like a personal standard. You know what I'm saying? Like we have a pretty high standard for the coaches and what they need to be able to explain and who they need to be. But overall, there's not really any big company that has this big standard if you want to, train people.
I like to toe that line of the standard.
You're a little below, but we let you go. So that's something to realize too. And it's, it's CrossFit, these micro gyms, it's not just CrossFit, but they more have started to pop up that are CrossFit-like, that have the group classes, are really the first to approach training a group of people in complex movements all at once, which, if you're an Olympic weightlifter, you'd probably say, hey, that's a bad idea. But it's not. I mean, there's obviously you play that risk versus reward game. You can play that all day with a lot of different things. But I think the CrossFit and the other micro gyms like it are the first to really attack that head on. So there's obviously going to be some criticism there, or some skepticism, I should say.
Yeah, for sure. CrossFit. I know that we've said this before. We are a CrossFit gym, but we want to be more. Like, we started the Ignite. We do have personal training within our coaches. so y'all definitely hit up the coaches if you guys want some personal training. But
no one's hit me up, so I don't know what's going on there.
I wonder why.
But I mean, like, we love CrossFit. I think that HQ is finally helping the affiliate owners a little bit more.
A lot more, yeah.
Within the last year, we've seen some bigger improvements, I guess, maybe just the last 6 months. But it's been better than it has been in the past, and that's kind of cool. CrossFit will own it and try to be better. But again, we do want to be more.
There's still some things that we don't necessarily align with.
Right. With CrossFit HQ
perfectly with
with
what they preach.
Yeah.
That's okay.
Yeah.
You want to make the gym personal.
Yeah.
And that's the beauty of it. And I don't know if that was intentional or not necessarily about CrossFit. I think it was that, like, hey, this is the concept, and you take it and kind of run with it for your clientele, because everybody's different.
We're all in different areas.
All in different areas. Some gyms have primarily younger people, younger members, and then some have primarily older members, and I think that should be programmed differently. That's one of the reasons, I think we talked about this before, why I still like to program instead of outsourcing program for somebody else, because I can get a feel for everybody in here and what they need. But
you do a good job of being able to kind of fulfill everyone's what they need and what they kind of want in the gym. I feel like me being competitive and wanting to do things that are kind of tough, like, I feel like I get great workouts out of these Metcons, and the strength programs are great, but it's also someone who coming in here might not have the same goals that I do. They're just like, okay, I want to get in here, I want to sweat, I want to get a good workout in, and I want to feel like I've accomplished something today. And I think you hit on that too. So you're very good at trying to accommodate for the entire gym community and not just dialed in on one section of people or one section of goals that people might have, right? Because you got some gyms that are just competitive gyms. Like, you might not want to go there unless you're a highly competitive person, or the complete opposite. Hey, we're a gym that, we really don't amp it up that much. You just come in here, you get a little sweat on, you go home. So I think you do a very good job of hitting on everything, and also the strength cycles are incredible.
Yeah, we can talk about
different
programming a little bit, maybe get into it some.
Yeah.
I know we talked about it before, just
Sorry.
who you are as a programmer now, since you have been programming from the beginning, for the most part, is very different. Oh my gosh. Tucker. Yes.
No way.
Tucker
dude.
Mayfield.
Oh my
Guys,
god, y'all.
That's a rough one. Go sit on the couch, dude.
That is so bad.
Oh,
If that hits me, Tucker, I'm hitting you.
oh, it's bad, y'all.
Oh, it was so bad.
It's bad. You know how dog farts are.
Get away
least
from
it
me.
Go over there. Go to the boys. Go to the boys.
Don't fart on me, Tucker. I'll choke slam you.
That was my head hurts. Like that's
He's
that
coming
that
over
hit
to
I
my
don't think I have
now.
any nose hairs.
Oh god. Programming.
Back to that.
Just like how far you've come, I guess, and kind of now, we don't really have to talk about the past, but now, I guess in a nutshell, what are your goals with your programming?
Tell us your secrets.
Yeah, there's no secrets.
I'm just a genius. That's all. Simple as that.
I just try to do things that work. So, like, I mean, there are things that, like, keep you up at night, at least me, when I'm thinking about programming, because I worry about it a lot.
Yeah.
Because everybody's got different goals, and that's really hard to accommodate. You can't. I mean, it's impossible to accommodate for everybody, but that's the whole point of CrossFit. And like we talked about at the beginning, like, if you're wanting to run the fastest marathon you've ever run, well, doing just CrossFit is not going to be the answer. If you're going to want to go compete in a powerlifting meet, just doing CrossFit by itself is not going to be the answer. It's not specialized. But everybody in their head of what their goals, what they think their goals are, they want it to be specialized for them. And you can tailor it a little bit, but, if you're going to want to get into something like that, you need to do some extra work on the side. CrossFit's just a great foundation overall. But, like, I think about this a lot. Any idiot can make any idiot sweat. And so it's like, that bothers me. Like, just because I came up with a good workout that made somebody sweat and breathe hard does not mean that that's going to be a good workout in the long term, especially over and over and over. So, but at the same time, I do believe that all fitness is good fitness.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, if I mess up on one workout, okay, maybe it wasn't the best one. I'll take a note on that one. Maybe let's not do that again, or maybe I'll change it up in some way. But yeah, there's some things that I've backed off on. Like we've probably seen that, like overhead squats.
Mm-hmm.
Don't put a whole lot of emphasis on everybody doing overhead squats. The risk versus reward there is I don't know, it's a lot. The risk goes way up when you ask somebody to put weight overhead, especially when egos are involved and you've got a big class.
Mm-hmm.
So there are people who struggle.
Well, there's some people that don't need to be doing stuff overhead.
No.
You know, like that shouldn't be a goal.
I think
tight shoulders,
right.
injuries in the
Right.
past, like that shouldn't be a goal. That doesn't make you more fit because you can lift a certain amount of weight over your head.
Right.
It doesn't make you more healthy.
Yeah.
It doesn't make you more healthy.
It proves, like, if you could do a fairly heavy overhead squat,
Athletes.
if you can do a fairly heavy overhead squat, like, it proves that you have good mobility and strength in
Right.
all of your
Right.
joints.
You're strong for sure.
And that's good to work towards.
Mm-hmm.
So that's usually why we'll give it as an option.
Yeah, and there's some people that are great at it and love it, but there's just some that shouldn't do it.
There are other ways that you can work strength overhead besides an overhead squat or a heavy
In a workout, you know,
snatch.
like you said, do it on the side if that's a goal of yours. Like,
Yeah.
you've got to take the time to work on that, not in a workout.
Right.
That's
And-
not the time to do it.
Like, look at where you're at in your life. You
Yes.
know what
Yeah.
I mean? Are you
Yes.
Shane, who is super duper young and wants to be really good at CrossFit, or are you, you know, on the older side? Like, should you be more worried about like those health markers?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Just being healthy versus what can I overhead squat?
Competitive.
Come on.
Yeah, and
You know?
there's
You're gonna get hurt. The
Yeah.
quickest way to leave this gym is to get hurt.
Yeah, risk versus reward in everybody's different seasons of life. You have to ask that question.
Yeah.
Like, what is the risk? Is it worth it? Like, lots of times, no. Sometimes, yeah. Like, for sure. If you're in a competition, all day. But
All day.
That's a big topic, though, from, like, the CrossFit community and people outside, is that risk versus reward.
Yeah.
Because the risk seems to go up a pretty good bit for the CrossFit community, at least CrossFit style workouts.
Mm-hmm.
It's possibly true, but I've actually looked at the statistics on studies, and it's the risks, like, per 100 people that do CrossFit and compared it to sports,
Mm-hmm.
which is, there's a difference there, right?
Yeah.
You got to think, am I doing this to, like, I want to get after it, or just to stay healthy and not hurt at all? But, like, it was the same as weightlifting. Like, just weightlifting, nothing else like CrossFit, just weightlifting. Like, the injuries are super low, way lower than football, way lower than any contact sport. But about the same as weightlifting. I think swimming, you know, was less than CrossFit. But, like, it's not saying it's impossible to get hurt swimming, but there's very low impact.
Yeah.
So there's always that risk-reward ratio, and that's where people get, you know, in little arguments about. And we do stuff that the risk goes up. And we try to emphasize that when we're coaching, that, hey, we got to stay super light here, or if you're feeling this, it's not worth it. Or instead of going overhead, let's do front squats instead. You're going to get a lot of the same benefits there. If there's something you're really adamant about, I think you should go, and you're like terrible overhead mobility, but you're desperate to get an overhead squat. Okay, well, let's go do personal training. This class time is not the time to get to knock that out necessarily, or go PVC pipe or the training bar, you know, something where you can minimize that risk as much as possible. However, if we don't put anything like that in there, then you're getting super boring with basic movements. And so then it's not fun. For me, if I come in
Not getting that chase.
yeah, right. If the programming was only squats, not heavy, because that would, you know, make it risk for injury, right? No heavy squats, but it was, you know, air squats, light barbell squats, sit-ups, maybe some strict pull-ups, anything like that. Like, I would have quit, because I'm like, okay, this is not that exciting.
Right.
So there's that play back and forth. You don't want the risk to go too high. You want to be confident with what you're doing. You definitely want to have the strength first. However, there's something to be said about challenging yourself and pushing yourself. So there's always that play back and forth when I'm programming, and it definitely haunts me. And there's some workouts that I'm like, we nailed it. This is great. This is perfect. And when you're coaching it, it flows great. And there are other ones, and I'm like, this is a catastrophe. I just can't wait for this class to be over. I'm never programming something like this again.
Right.
Try to minimize those. I've gotten pretty good, I think, about that.
Have you ever had someone be like, John, man, that was a great workout. But in your head, you were like, man, that was
Yes,
that
actually.
was not a great workout.
Yeah.
Yes, actually.
Yeah, I have. But that does help.
Yeah.
That does help when I'm like, man, I start doubting if I know actually what I'm talking about or what I'm thinking, and then somebody will be like, I've really enjoyed that. But okay, maybe it wasn't as bad as I thought in my head. But just trying to take all those things into consideration is a little weighty because there's just so many people. I mean, you talk about programming the best workout possible for 150 people. It's impossible.
Yeah.
Absolutely impossible. So we just want to create the best experience possible that people can get.
And I think
best
that our coaches, we talked about this yesterday, the other day. I think our coaches do a really good job, and we've tried to emphasize like know your athletes. Know who they are, and I think that we all know our athletes pretty well. Like we know that certain people are working specifically on strengths, and like in a workout where, let's talk about the one we did a couple weeks ago where it was the 15 front squat, the rowing 15 front squats and toes to bar. I think that's what it was.
Yeah.
They might not be the best at toes to bar, but they're really working on their squats. So it's like, okay, do the 95 pounds because you can do it, and you can do it like your form still looks really good. And don't worry about getting your toes to the bar. Like, that's not the goal. I think we do a very good job of being very specific when it comes to that. Obviously, when we're coaching the class as a whole, we're not calling people out, saying this is what you should do. But I think we do a good job of the stimulus of the workout. Like, hey, gymnastics is what you're working on right now? Okay, let's make sure you're really focused on this and maybe go a little lighter here. Or pick up your pace on this and let's slow down at this point.
I love it when an athlete's like, hey, what weight should I go?
Yeah.
It's like, all right, well, are you wanting to get stronger?
Like,
or
what
you
are your
want to
goals
move
right
better?
now? Yeah.
So you kind of get to individualize that athlete a little bit and do personalize what they should do.
But then it does, like, I think that we have the best coaching staff, like, for our athletes. Y'all kill it. And I do think that we do a wonderful job of explaining the stimulus. What did you want out of the workout? We talk about this weekly. We try to talk about the workouts weekly, what you wanted out of the workouts that you're programming for us. We relay that message the best we can to the athletes. A lot of the athletes hear us. Some athletes do not.
Yeah.
But that was due to you guys when we did have a coaches meeting and when we were doing our research topics, us starting to, I remember y'all just bringing it up in the coaches meeting, hey, let's try to start talking about how a workout should feel when they're doing it.
Because people want that. The athletes that tend to maybe not listen sometimes, it's okay. That's going to happen.
They'll learn their lesson.
But yes, like it's just they have to. I mean, it's not our job to get in their face and get aggressive. We're not going to do that ever. Maybe we want to, but we're not going to. Yeah.
And let's put a poll on Instagram. Can I yell in your face?
Can I grab you by the ear?
Oh gosh. And some people might want that. Like they really might.
You put it in the waiver, the CrossFit waiver.
If we grab your ear,
tell
you
them it
can't
was in
sue
there
us.
because they don't read
Stop what you're doing right now.
I'm not yelling at anybody's face.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
getting up in them. I don't care.
Brian,
There are a lot of athletes that I think I have been very nervous to say, hey, you need to take the weight off the bar because their form looks bad or something like that. But I've done it because I'm like, look, you're going to hurt yourself. You're potentially going to hurt somebody else if you try to lift this and run with it. And they listen well. There are some that it's a little bit more of a struggle, but there are a lot, and I'm like, as a coach, I have to build that confidence, which I have built that confidence, but it can take a second. If you don't know the athlete, like you got to coach in the afternoon the other day, and we haven't got to do that in a while. I don't really think you struggle with your confidence when it comes to coaching, but that's hard sometimes if you are not used to coaching those specific athletes and you come in to coach them. It's just hard to.
Yeah, you gotta learn where they're at.
I remember when I first started coaching, like it was a very big challenge for me to correct somebody. Like I was just like I said, being a younger athlete and a newer member to the gym, not doing it very long, and I'm like, there's people that's been here. There's plenty of people in this gym that have been here way longer than I have and have maybe been even doing CrossFit way longer than I have. And just because I'm a good athlete doesn't mean that they're going to respect me and know what I'm talking about. Yeah. But, I have done the research and I've done the studies. You've gained their
respect, as a coach.
So when I first started, that was very, very hard for me to be like, hey, that's not necessarily what we're looking for. I want to see you move this way, or I want to see you reach this depth in your squat, or I want to see you hit this cue during your deadlift. And keep this in mind. So It definitely is tough at first, but it gets better.
Yeah,
It
you
gets
have to earn
better.
it.
And it's still sometimes there's still moments where I'm like, we've talked a lot about overcoaching. You don't want to overcoach.
Right.
You might tell an athlete something 3 times and they still haven't quite got it.
Right.
And it's like, all right, well, maybe we'll hit on a different cue or focus on a different aspect and come back to that later.
Yeah.
Later time.
Yeah, just because you don't want to crush anybody's spirit. What? Oh, that's fine. It's still recording.
Okay.
You don't want to crush anybody's spirit just for no reason. I say no reason. Like if you come in and work out, and we'd feel the same way, and the whole time you're working out, you're just being told that, hey, you're doing it wrong. You're doing it wrong. You need to go down and weigh. No, that's still wrong. Okay, well, you know what? You're still doing it wrong. So either stop. Yeah. It's like, okay, at some point, celebrate maybe the little victory of, hey, we got a little bit better, and then kind of move on. So that's something we've talked about a whole lot as coaches, and hopefully do a pretty good job at that. But at the same time, teaching and correcting, because people do want to get better.
And it varies between athletes. Some athletes are like, hey, I want you to keep telling me what I'm doing wrong.
Yeah.
Like I've told you, whenever I'm doing an Olympic lift, I want to be critiqued. Like I want you to tell me. I always tell you, I don't care what it is, if it's in the middle workout, whatever it is, tell me. And there's athletes like that in the gym. They're like, hey, I want you to tell me what I'm doing wrong, even if you're having to repeat it a few times. But there's also other athletes that are like, okay, I just want to be told once or twice.
Yeah.
And then
sometimes people are just unaware of how they're moving, how they look.
If you've developed a bad habit, it's very, very hard to break and be conscious of what you're doing wrong.
And it's going to take some time too. Mm-hmm. And like form follows function. Mm-hmm. So, once we can kind of get you moving, get people moving on a movement, generally their form will start to get better and better just by doing it and really not even throwing in that much correction to it. Yeah.
We also
as long as we can minimize the risk for injury before that happens, where their form gets
also
good.
hits on, we were telling like some people who move maybe not the way we want to see them move can do it at a decent weight, but they're going to hit a plateau at some point,
right?
Because the way they're doing it is one, going to cause them to get hurt, or two, they're not going to be able to develop much more strength because they've been doing the movement incorrectly. So to do this movement correctly, they're going to have to go down and wait for one, which people don't like to do. They're like, oh, I can clean 260? Okay, well, it's not looking like I want it to look. You're going to be at 260 for the rest of your life if we don't fix this. Yeah. And we tell them to go.
That's not bad.
I was about to say, what are we talking about? What are we listening here?
Brian's going to be like, what?
That was my plateau. I know that was my plateau for a long time. I was stuck at 260 for almost a year.
That's tough. That's one of the tougher conversations as a coach to have.
It's like, hey, let's go down and wait. Let's focus on this. And, 6 months from now, that 260 may turn into a 275 because we went down and wait. We've developed a better habit in following these coaching cues, which is going to help you surpass that plateau or ceiling that you hit by doing it incorrectly.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that your programming is great. I have very much enjoyed it. I think we hear a lot of positive feedback with your programming. And I think one of the best things about you and your programming is like how much you care. Like, I know that we see it a lot, but you do so much research. You are always looking into things to make it better. Like, it's not what you want. This is not, you don't program for you, where I think a lot of
gyms do that.
Yeah, they go wrong by programming for you. And you've never really, like, you want to do what's best for everybody. Yeah. And, like, you are looking at so many different people, and you read articles, and, like, you are in it. You listen to podcasts, and, like, you just want what's best for everybody.
I feel like if I ever had a question about anything, like, hey, why am I doing this pause? Why am I doing this eccentric? John can give me exactly what I'm looking for answer-wise. He can answer that question.
I'll do my best,
but even if you don't know the answer, you're gonna figure it out.
Yeah. I like to be. This was tough. We talked about this for a while. There are people that come in and question everything hard because they're skeptical of everything that we're doing. Maybe Brian, maybe not Brian.
I know.
No, and I've grown to really respect that and enjoy that. Because one, I get to, if I know what I'm talking about, prove that okay, I do know what I'm talking about. So I quickly earn their respect more than everybody else's, because other people don't really care. They're just like blindly following to some extent, you know?
Yeah.
Like
Or
Yes.
or I can be like, which I mean, that's what they pay for, right? Is for us to tell them what to do to work out, right? But
Keep
or I
in
can be
shape.
like, I'll be honest, I don't know,
Yeah.
but I'm gonna find out.
Yeah.
That's respectable too.
Yeah, and so I don't want to try to fake it like I know everything, because I definitely don't. And my programming will change. It definitely will. It's already changed as far as like the outlook for this year compared
excited
to
for
last
what we
year.
have coming
Yeah, I
up
just typed up a
this year.
2023 outlook of programming so that everybody can kind of see the strength cycles and the way the workouts are going to be made throughout
Like
the
we're
full
gonna
year.
do like quarters.
Yeah, it'll be fairly quarterly, but somewhat blended, because
Yeah,
some of the
we-
strength cycles will overlap, and there'll be some build up to the game times, and then there'll be some build up to the CrossFit Open, and just kind of some different things like that,
Yeah.
different
That's
seasons.
really
You have so much reasoning behind what you do, and you do so much research, or you try to understand your program completely before you expose it to the public and do it. And I don't think, I think that's what differentiates you from a lot of people. Like hey, what's my goal for this cycle? How is it going to benefit everyone? And I need to know as much as possible about this.
Yeah.
In order to
And I do
translate
think
that
like
over to
athletes that
other
ask questions have helped grow the gym.
Sure, a
like,
bunch.
Like Brian seriously terrified me when he first started coming to Tello. He asked so many
He's
questions.
asked a lot of
Kelsey.
questions.
He's gotten better though.
Oh yeah,
Yes.
yeah. When he first started
He was
coming,
great.
I was terrified.
Keep
I was
asking
like,
questions.
I
Brian.
was like,
Keep
John.
asking
I was
questions.
like, John. He doesn't like what we're doing. Like he hates.
It's
us.
not that.
No. But like now, I have I understand him better. But like when he first
innocently
started coming,
curious
oh
all the
yeah,
time.
and he's made us better. You know, he's made John a better programmer. Like you have to look at stuff, because there are people that are going to ask those questions, and that's what gets you better, because you do the research.
Yeah.
You want to know more.
Yeah.
But I'm
Yeah.
telling you, when he first started coming, I was terrified.
Yeah, because the way he asked, you're like thinking, he's
you don't think I
but
know what
he's
I'm talking
not.
about? Maybe I don't.
Yeah, but he's not. He's actually
He just cares.
genuine
He
and
cares.
curious and
Oh,
wants
yeah.
to know, hey, why are we doing this way?
Yeah.
Not why are we doing this because I disagree. It's more why are we doing
Yeah.
this because I'm actually curious
Yeah.
about why we want to do it. What's the benefit?
Yeah,
You know,
for sure.
I think, because he would maybe, if it's something he liked, maybe he would use it with his students and his athletics.
Yeah.
Or,
Yeah.
You know, he's constantly curious because he's always wanting to learn.
Yeah,
I,
think
I
that-
appreciate it now, but ooh,
It's
I was
tough.
scared
Yeah.
of him. I was scared.
He's not the only one either.
No, he's not.
Definitely
He's
the
just
only one.
we're picking on Brian.
I think that's a big thing, though. I try to. Yeah.
One pays
He just
more
has to get
attention
under
to
our
the
skin.
spelling
One
of the
will
workout.
call
We-
you
we-
out in
look.
a second.
We got to be careful about calling people out.
I know.
I'm not scared.
But I think understanding, like when I'm going through programming, I try to either before or after ask myself, okay, well, why are we doing that? And if I can't figure out a good reason why, and sometimes it's as simple as, well, because it's fun and people enjoy that movement, because a lot of times programming is giving you what you want while trickling in what you need.
Yeah.
Because if you give just what you need, then you might hate it and you wouldn't do it. So that's definitely not what you need.
Right.
So there has to be some sort of what you want. And with 150 different people, that's everybody's all over the place. So that's why the program is pretty diverse for the most part. But Kelsey, you actually said something this week. I think it was last week. Maybe it was last week. About overheard somebody talking about CrossFit. And you're like, it's stupid. Why does my grandmother need to do a clean and jerk?
Somebody said that?
Yeah.
Yeah,
And it wasn't in the gym, right? This is
No,
outside.
Oh, okay.
It
This
was
was
at
at
the Alabama High School.
Yeah, which is
Okay, okay.
pretty common.
I remember. Okay, yeah.
Which is pretty common. We've heard that argument a lot, right?
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter how old your grandmother is. Like,
And just to me, I want to see how much a 9-year-old can clean it.
to me,
I'm
well,
impressed.
see, that,
Jeez.
I'd be impressed.
so like, it's a pretty ignorant.
I know, I smell
That's a
it.
pretty ignorant statement or question, in my opinion.
Yes, it
because if you look at the muscle fibers, right, that the first ones to deteriorate for most people when you get older are the ones that are fast twitch and strength, right? So explosion, being quick. And so
He said it about box jumps too. He said
Yeah,
clean
which
and
is-
jerks
which
and
is-
box jumps, and I was like, dear
again,
God.
yeah, and like I kind of get the argument because the risk versus reward
Right.
there, right? So I understand where that's coming from. However, to say that hopefully whoever said that does not believe that a old person should not have to do anything quick or strength power related at all, because that's just off the wall. So, and then like, I'm going to pretend like they, they don't mean that, right? Mm-hmm. That they think you should still train for quickness and speed and power even as you get older, because those are the first things to go. Think about this: if somebody goes to fall, right, which happens, it's a big cause of death for people as you get older, right? If you fall, strength is not going to save you if you fall. It's going to be power and speed to get your limb or whatever you need under you to catch you, and then the strength from there to stand you back up. If you just have strength without any power into it, then you're just going to fall and, break your bones or something, so and there may be other ways that, besides a clean and jerk or a box jump, that you could train that. Sure, that's a pretty good argument, or could be an argument, I guess. But then you're just talking about preference. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then you go back to the community. Okay, so you're asking this person who maybe doesn't see very many people throughout the day, that they should go do this by themselves. Mm-hmm. There's no motivation in that. Mm-hmm. Okay, maybe they prefer another movement instead of clean and jerks and box jumps. However, clean and jerks and box jumps are going to be very good and very effective at generating power and strength. And you get to do it with a community of people that are excited to see you every day. Mm-hmm. Sign me up for that if I'm 92. So I think that's a pretty ignorant comment to say, sure. And because there's a reason. That's why I say all that. There's a reason why we do these things, and there should be a reason why you're coming in here every day to do that, and kind of keeping that in the scope is important.
Yeah, for sure.
I can tell I've matured a lot because I didn't turn around and say anything.
Yeah.
So I was like, you know what, that's a growth moment. So
he didn't say it directly to you. He just said it and you overheard
They were
him.
doing, it's called The Grid, and there was two guys behind me, and he was like, CrossFit, what does my grandma, it was either his grandma or his mom, he's like, what does she need to clean and jerk or box jump? And I really wanted to say, so she can pick your dirty son up one day. One day, she might be able to pick your kid up.
Go off me, Kelsey.
I wanted to, but I didn't.
That's good.
I'd have done
Growth. But yeah, I think what we have, I think we've said it before, what we have going on in this gym is fun. It's exciting. I'm thankful to have some good athletes, some good coaches.
Tell him, you should have told him you can clean and jerk more than you can bench press.
I don't know about shit.
I look like I probably could,
what?
compared to him.
Huh?
I do think, and we didn't really talk about this, the way we're a little different, and y'all can chime in on this too, because you're a big part of it. The way we're different than CrossFit as far as the programming goes is, for the most part, and this changes a lot, there's a lot of different CrossFit gyms, they allow us to do it however we want to. There's not a this is where we are and this is where we're going of a strength cycle in the programming in CrossFit HQ. In the programs that they send out. It's a very it's not random necessarily, it's just varied. So there's a lot of the same repeated movements, which and the stimulus is pretty intentional about what they're trying to hit, and it's very well structured. So I do want to say that. However, we've been doing back squats every Monday. Mm-hmm. I think there's a lot of benefit in being consistent with weekly, you're doing the same movement over and over and over, building up in weight when it comes to that. Yeah. As far as gaining strength faster, I think there's a lot of benefit in that. Mm-hmm. If you were to not do that and just do the CrossFit HQ programming, you're going to get very fit in a lot of different ways, just like you're going to get very fit in a lot of different ways doing what we do. However, we're a little strength biased because of the strength programs. Because the strength cycles. Right, because I see a lot of benefit in that. And so that's my personal preference when programming, and I think a lot of people in here have that kind of preference as well. And so that's why we do that, is because I think you can't really get good at something until you've done it consistently while it's still on your mind over and over and over. So if you're uncomfortable with a squat and you do it once and then you don't do it for another 3 or 4 weeks, well then you almost forgot at that point, so you kind of have to relearn it every time. But if we're going to do it for 8 to 12 weeks at a time, you're going to build some confidence in it. And then if we take breaks off, I think a bigger break off after consistently working on it for 8 to 12 weeks is fine. That would be better than 2 or 3 weeks in between every time you do it, if that kind of makes sense. So that's why we stick with chunks of consistent movements instead of breaking them up, more often. Yeah. So that's kind of a preference thing, but that is why we do things the way that we do them.
And we don't follow HQ's program.
Yeah, we don't follow HQ's program.
No, that's why we don't.
Yeah, that's why we don't. Yeah. So
We'll keep doing it,
Yeah.
John.
I'll do my best.
Keep
I
doing it.
love going to an outside gym and then doing
I did not know what he was about to say.
doing a workout, and then they're like, "Man, what program do you follow?" I said, "Mayfield Method, baby. You ain't never heard of it, but it's gonna be on top one day.
On top one day.
It's the best
I
program
don't
we
know
got."
about on
Shane,
top.
Shane is like your biggest hype man, but also the biggest,
Pain in your butt.
yeah.
It's not my
He's gonna
fault.
talk crap about you're working out, your little arms. I don't think it
It's
will,
not my
so
fault.
he
I'm
does.
fitter
I'm working on
following
it.
his program. I mean, I can be fitter than you. And
I
follow your
remember
program.
somebody saying it was like, if you are the owner and you are like, we talked about this a little bit already, but if you're dominating every single workout, like you're doing something wrong.
Yeah,
Like
that-
you should not cater to you.
I've
which we
told
talked
Shane
about.
that a bunch.
This one?
Like, I want you to be fitter than me,
Oh, yeah,
but
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
not going to let you
Oh, yeah.
easily. You know, like, I'm still going to work hard,
I'm
and
a product of your work.
workouts, like, they don't come as easily as they used to, like, time-wise. It's hard to get
Yeah.
5-6 workouts in a week now. Sometimes, 2 or 3.
Yeah.
One is all you can do on a given week. Whereas if you're single and, just out of college,
Oh, excuses, excuses.
Or in college.
Why
Oh, Lord.
Shane beats me because he's young and childless.
look, all I
Try going
know,
on
all I
about
know
parents, John being fit. Okay.
Look, we do one officially recorded competition every year in the Open, and I still beat you this year. So you can't claim that I'm beating you in these workouts.
Maybe he's just a cheater.
Shane?
You
Oh.
cheat.
I mean, the
don't.
wall ball target. Do we hit it every day?
Yeah.
Every time. Every
Barely-
time.
It's like, this is the target right here, and you're like,
Efficiency.
you're not
Tell him,
even,
John.
no rep.
Tell him, John. It's not no rep. You
Start
hit the
no
target.
rep.
It's a rep.
Middle of the target. That's what we're going to start saying.
I hit
Middle
the
of the
target.
target. I hit it.
We're going to put a line in the
Look, y'all watch it. Y'all sit there and watch it.
Remember
I've
his
never
push-ups?
heard someone say no rep. I've
Remember his
always heard.
push-ups a couple years ago?
Dang.
Yeah.
Just wait, Shane.
And remember we were going to put chalk on
Oh.
his chest?
Yeah.
Push-ups were. I did fix that though because
You
y'all were
did.
talking so much smack, and I was like, okay,
Oh, I was
not my fault. I
like,
have it.
just went PG-13.
Yeah. I was like, it's not my fault that I have a little chest and couldn't get to the ground. My nose hits before my chest does.
Excuses.
Well, are there
Man.
anything else we want to talk about? I know we have a couple of announcements. Not really announcements, just general things we want to. Like we got game day coming
Yeah.
up
Yeah,
April
yeah.
1st. We've posted about that. We're not going to get super into it, but we
Fellow
posted
games.
about it.
Fellow
We got
games.
fellow games coming up May 13th.
We'll send some more stuff out about that soon. I'll email.
Shane, what's Kate's middle name?
Huh?
What's my middle name?
Gregory.
Well, now, yes. What's Kelsey's middle name? We have the same middle name.
What?
We grew up with the same middle name.
Her middle name is not Gregory.
Okay, my
That's
middle name
not
at
her
birth.
middle
That's my
name.
maiden name. What's my name at birth? Mine and Kelsey's. Look, it's easy peasy.
Your name at birth?
My middle name at
Oh,
birth.
my
And
goodness.
Kelsey's middle name at birth.
No clue.
So
None at
you're
all.
not. You're not.
You
really
can't
different.
know because the only reason y'all know my middle name is because my initials are STD. And you were like, how is it? What's your middle
To
name?
be
And I'm like,
fair,
Thomas.
I don't know Kelsey's middle name outside of you just saying that.
Oh, I was
ours
like,
is
you
the
don't
same.
know mine?
Oh, God.
No.
This is about to be a deal.
What, is it Reagan? Brittany?
Let's see.
Oh, you're getting-
Caitlin Brittany Gregory.
You're
that
getting
sounds
close.
good. Caitlin
like,
Reagan Gregory. That sounds
basic
good.
white girl
It is a
name.
It is
Basic,
pretty
yeah.
basic. Name.
Becky.
That is
Caitlin
not-
Becky. Kelsey Becky. Yeah.
Doesn't have to sound good.
Is it start with a B, I'm guessing?
No.
Are we gonna sit here until he guesses?
I just want him to try a little.
I am trying.
Starts with an N.
An N? Nicole.
Yes. Gives it away every time. Caitlin Nicole and Kelsey Nicole.
I knew that.
What's John's middle name?
Johnny Boy.
Boy.
Johnny Boy Mayfield.
Roberts.
Or Johnny Bravo.
Bravo.
JR.
Yep.
You could have been a JR.
I could have been.
But you're not.
Fun fact of the day.
Shane's is Thomas, if anybody wanted to know.
It's
Yes,
big
it is.
pimpin'.
All right.
John's so
Man.
done with
That's
us.
it.
Wow.
We're done with this podcast.
We'll see you in the gym.
Yep.